Welcome back to Movie Recaps. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. The movie opens with an old woman named Barb, who is seen holding an old box, and lost in her thoughts. She soon grabs a picture of a young couple, hangs it in her car, and drives away in snowy weather. On the way, she listens to the radio, and learns that temperatures in northern Minnesota are expected to drop sharply, making the weather even worse. After driving for a while, the snow grows even heavier, and Barb soon becomes lost. She feels helpless, until she hears a sound nearby, and decides to drive in that direction. Barb eventually arrives at an isolated house, where an old man is chopping wood, and a bloodstain can be seen on the ground. Moments later, the old man is startled to see Barb, and asks who she is and what she's doing here. She explains that she has come for fishing, and asks for the location of Lake Hilda, which he kindly provides. Barb thanks him, and then asks about the blood on the ground, but he assures her that it's just from a deer he hunted. Next, Barb drives away, and soon arrives at frozen Lake Hilda, which overwhelms her with emotions. She reminisces about her younger days, and it turns out to be the same place where she and her husband, Carl, had their first date. Following this, the woman takes out the ice auger, and drills a hole in the frozen lake, before retrieving the old box from earlier. Barb then begins to cry. But then all of a sudden, she hears gunshots, so she rushes to see what's happening, and notices the old man from earlier chasing a young girl whose hands are tied. Barb hides behind her vehicle, and watches in horror as the old man shoots the girl in her leg, before dragging her inside his house. Upon seeing this, Barb is shaken to her core and tries to call the cops, but her phone has no signal. She attempts to drive away. But unfortunately, the car is stuck in the snow and won't move. With no other option, Barb returns to the old man's house, and notices him driving away. She seizes the opportunity and rushes to the house to rescue the girl, only to find the front door locked. She then hears sounds in the basement, and removes a wooden cover and peeks inside. Through the opening, she sees the kidnapped girl tied up, and asks if she's alone, to which the girl confirms. However, before Barb can help, the old man returns with another vehicle, prompting her to hide. It turns out he has brought his wife as well, who is only known as the Purple Lady. The couple enters the house, after which the Purple Lady checks on the kidnapped girl. The old man assures her that he abducted the girl while she was leaving the pharmacy, and no one was around at the time. Meanwhile, Barb writes on the foggy basement window, and promises the young girl that she won't leave her alone. The woman returns to her vehicle, where we see that she has brought along a portable fishing shack. Elsewhere, the Purple Lady seems to be very sick and is seen bleeding from her nose. Here, her attention is drawn to a red mitten that Barb accidentally left behind, so the woman checks the basement window and sees the message Barb left, which shocks her. She also notices footprints in the snow, and rushes inside to question her husband about the mitten, and whether someone has been there. The old man explains that a woman came asking for Lake Hilda, but she didn't see anything. But his enraged wife scolds him for being too nice to people, and demands that he come with her to fix the mess he has created. Not long after, the couple arrives at the lake with their guns, and spots the fishing sack in the middle. They cautiously approach the shack to attack. But then, the old man falls into a trap set by Barb, while Barb watches the entire scene from a distance with her binoculars. While the deranged couple is distracted, Barb seizes the opportunity to sneak into their house. She breaks open the basement door, and rushes to the young girl, before carefully removing the duct tape from her mouth, but she notices the girl's hands are chained to a pole with a lock, and she doesn't have the key. Barb thus quickly heads upstairs to look for something to break the lock. She then turns the taps on, and puts out the fire. Up next, she stuffs the curtains and blankets into the water, ensuring everything is completely soaked. However, as Barb steps out of the house, someone suddenly shoots her shoulder, and it turns out to be the Purple Lady. She fires several shots again, but Barb somehow dodges the bullets and runs out of sight. When the couple returns to the house, they are shocked to see that the entire house is soaked, with water spilling everywhere, even into the basement. It turns out they don't even have any dry clothes left, so the old man begins to panic since he's slipping into hypothermia. Meanwhile, Barb returns to her vehicle to find some medicine for first aid, but comes up empty-handed. She suddenly notices that her ring is missing, and begins searching everywhere, but to no avail. The poor woman starts crying, and we soon learn it was the same ring her husband had given her when he proposed to her for marriage. At this point, Barb notices a gun left by the old man in the snow, and begins planning how to save the kidnapped girl. Elsewhere, we see that the kidnappers are resting in their vehicle to warm up, but the Purple Lady states that they need to leave because time is running out. The old man is freezing and begs her for more time, but she reminds him they must be in Little Fork by tomorrow morning to meet with the surgeon. We also learn that they intend to do something sinister at the lake because it will freeze tomorrow, and the police will be unable to investigate the crime scene. The couple then takes the young girl outside, but the old man realizes he has lost his gun, causing his wife to angrily slap him. She puts the girl in her car and sets out to find Barb, while the old man heads to the frozen lake. The man takes out a bag of equipment, while Barb watches from a distance and looks confused. Following this, she rushes back to the house to find the young girl, only to discover she is gone. She then grabs some supplies from a cabinet, and finally manages to tend to the wounds on her shoulder. Afterward, Barb notices a car outside, so she smashes the windows, and finds a radio there. It seems to work, so the old woman contacts emergency services, and reports that a deranged couple has kidnapped a girl here, and even shot her. She even gives them the address. But then suddenly, the old man arrives, and tries to attack her, but she injures his foot. She then grabs the gun she found earlier, and holds him at gunpoint, but the man confesses that it was his wife who forced him into all of this. He reveals that his wife is terminally ill, and they kidnapped the young girl because she had tried to take her own life multiple times. He admits he's done helping his deranged wife, and needs to get to a hospital immediately, as he's hypothermic and could die any moment. The old man then hands Barb the ring he found in his house, which overwhelms her with emotion. Feeling bad for him, Barb decides to help, and asks where the nearest town is, to which he reveals it's Wanaska, which is 2 hours away. To prove that he's not a bad person, she orders him to drive to Wanaska, and report everything to the police, after which only he can go to the hospital. The old man agrees, and Barb warns him not to make her regret trusting him. He promises he won't, and hands her some bullets, before driving away from the house. However, he doesn't get very far, before his wife finds him. The wife furiously asks why he left, so the old man tells her that he's hypothermic, and needs to go to the hospital, but she questions why he didn't come to her for help. She reminds him how crucial their plan is, but the old man thinks their crazy plan isn't going to work. Here he says he doesn't even trust this unknown surgeon, and urges her to walk away while it's still not too late. However, this only enrages the Purple Lady, who accuses her husband of wanting to get rid of her. Meanwhile, Barb loads the bullets into the gun, then returns to her vehicle, and gazes at a picture of herself and Carl from their younger days. She then recalls the time she suffered from a miscarriage, and how her husband was there to comfort and reassure her. Moments later, Barb sets fire to her vehicle, hoping the thick smoke will lead the authorities straight to the lake. The plan works flawlessly, and Barb soon notices the arrival of a car in the area. Then, two men who appear to be local rangers exit the vehicle, and Barb explains that she was the one who called them, before going into detail about what happened. The men agree to help, and ask her to hand over her gun. Barb hesitates because it could put her in danger, but when they assure her she will be protected, she reluctantly hands it over. One of the men wants to call the cops and come back, but the other refuses. Barb asks them to be careful since the woman is dangerous, but they don't take her warning seriously, and are confident they can handle an old woman. The men carefully exit the vehicle with their weapons, and call out to the purple lady, but there's no response. They approach the car parked outside. And upon opening the door,
What the fuck?
the purple lady easily kills the two men, and then proceeds to shoot Barb as well. Fortunately, Barb manages to retrieve her gun from the glove compartment. She fiercely fires back at the psycho lady, which manages to wound the purple lady in the leg, and she soon runs out of bullets. Seeing this, Barb rushes to grab a gun from one of the dead men, but the gunfire continues, forcing her to take cover behind a vehicle. And then, her eyes widen in shock when she notices the old man dead in his car, murdered by his own wife. A stunned Barb rushes to hide behind the house as the psycho woman continues shooting. Unfortunately, a large shot strikes a wooden roof, which causes Barb to lose consciousness. In another flashback, we see Barb helping out her sick husband by getting out of bed, and preparing breakfast for him some time ago. She was reminiscing about their trips in their younger days, right when she realized Carl had become completely unresponsive. A panicked Barb stopped cooking, and was distraught to discover that her husband had passed away. In the present, Barb regains consciousness, and finds herself tied up in the basement next to the young girl. She asks the girl if she knows the couple, and Leah replies that she once saw the purple lady in the hospital after her unsuccessful attempt to end her life. The girl reveals her name as Leah, which makes Barb emotional, because Carl loved that name, and had planned to name their daughter Leah if they ever had one. Next, Barb searches for her old box, and Leah reveals that the purple lady had left it nearby. Barb quickly retrieves the box, and uses its handle to remove the screw that is binding her. She then hands the screw to Leah, and manages to free herself by lifting the pole with great difficulty. Barb helps Leah as well, and while looking for the exit, she finds the storm door that could get them out. Feeling hopeful, Barb uses some tools from the basement, and finally manages to open the door, only to see the purple lady standing outside. The psycho woman immediately locks them in again. At this moment, Barb has another flashback and recalls when she met with her husband's lawyer after his death. It turns out Carl had wanted his ashes scattered in Lake Hilda, because of the memories they shared there, and this is why Barb was traveling to the place. Sometime later, the purple lady takes Leah and Barb to the lake, where a tent is set up in the middle. Inside the tent, there is a bed, and the purple lady orders Barb to open a mysterious box. Barb reminds the woman that she is dying anyway, and begs her to stop the madness, but the purple lady refuses to listen. Reluctantly, Barb opens the box, and is horrified to learn that it is meant to store a human liver for transplants. This means the woman intends to steal Leah's liver, and then meet the surgeon in Little Fork, who will supposedly perform the transplant. Next, the purple lady orders her to put Leah on the bed, and a horrified Barb insists that the girl is just a child who doesn't deserve this. She offers to take her place instead of the poor girl, but the purple lady says she's too old. With no other choice, Barb apologizes to Leah, while the young girl is clutching the screw from earlier. Barb is forced to tie her up with duct tape, but deliberately leaves the bonds loose so she can escape easily. And then, after finishing, the purple lady cuts Leah's clothes, and begins the process of extracting her organs, while the desperate girl lets out muffled screams. But while she's distracted, Barb, who turns out to be still alive, gets up and launches a fierce attack. She stabs the purple lady with scissors, but the latter still refuses to give up and attacks back. They struggle violently over a rifle, during which they accidentally knock a lantern to the ground. The fight escalates to the point where Barb tackles and throws the purple lady out of the tent. Meanwhile, the tent begins to ignite from the fallen lantern, and Leah struggles desperately to break free. Soon, the purple lady overpowers Barb, and is about to shoot her, only to realize she's out of bullets. Leah, on the other hand, uses the screw Barb gave her to cut the duct tape. The psycho woman viciously beats Barb with a rifle, and both of them collapse in exhaustion. Following this, the purple lady finds Barb's old box, and it turns out that the bullet had struck the box earlier and saved the woman. There are ashes inside, and Barb desperately pleads with her not to touch them. Next, the purple lady drags Barb to the small trap she had set in the lake, where her husband had fallen earlier. At the same time, Leah manages to break free, and safely escape from the burning tent. The purple lady then attempts to attack Barb again, but the latter ties the loose end of the handcuff on her wrist to the woman's ankle. She drags her into the hole, and both women end up plunging into the freezing water. The purple lady desperately gasps for air, but Barb further drags her down. Meanwhile, Leah arrives at the hole, and finds the picture of Barb and Carl from their younger days. Barb, on the other hand, scatters her husband's ashes in the lake as a final act of love and remembrance. The movie ends with a shaken Leah walking away, while Barb takes her last breath, while recalling the memory of her first date with Carl. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this.